Hi, good morning, and welcome to the ZP vlog and podcast. We do this every Sunday at 8 a.m. London time, and we just do a sort of wrap up on news from Zimmer Peacock for this week. So, one of the things that we did do this week was attend the Lifetime CDT. So, the CDT is a centre for doctoral training, which there are several of these in the United Kingdom, and they're government sponsored by the EPSRC, and they, as his name says, CDT, Centre for Doctoral Training. They train up sort of the next generation of PhDs. So we were delighted to attend it. We have a few PhDs sponsored in the CDT, and we were delighted to attend this conference in Birmingham, and we also give a talk as well, also about Zimmer Peacock. Something else this week as well was we did put out some information regarding Julie. As many of you will know, Julie is a cloud system. It's kind of pivotal, or at the center of what we do at Zimmer and Peacock. Even though we are very well known for biosensors and IVDs, in vitro diagnostics, and do a lot of wearables, these are all essentially generators of technology, and this kind of technology has to go, not technology, but this data has to go to the cloud. We have to process it. We have to talk it. We have to turn it into something that's basically useful. For ZP, we describe ourselves as the sensor to API company, and that does also include our database called Julie, where we send the data. It gets processed, stored, turned into something that's useful information, and then actually passed on via API application program interface to third parties as well. So we did put some information out about Julie, as I say, this week as well. So some other news from Zimmer and Peacock for the week ending today. We also put some a blog, we did every Thursday at 8 a.m. London time. We do our webinar for members of the ZP Developer Zone. Now, this webinar is intended to answer sort of difficult questions that come in during the week regarding really about sort of electrochemical and electrochemical biosensing. Sometimes they're more commercial, sometimes they're more technical. This week I would suggest it was almost extremely technical, and we talked about the what's called the CN0359 and the SP32, and we did talk an awful lot about these I want to say equipment that can be used to measure biosensors. So we did talk about that this week in the webinar. Something else that we did this week as well was also talk about the detection of heavy metals. So at Zimmer and Peacock, we do a lot of detection technologies. People ask us about the detection of metals. So metals, things like copper, maybe gold, for example. But when you talk about gold, you're actually getting into what's called the platinum group metals. So we also talked about the detection of the platinum group metals, and then there are the heavy metals like things like cadmium and zinc, and we also talked about that as well. So that was a little video that we put out, sort of saying that our ZP Sense It All platform can also be used for the detection of these metals, and we did describe the science and the process by which we can do that at Zimmer and Peacock. Something else that we touched upon this week as well is there's sometimes a confusion, and we do it ourselves at Zimmer and Peacock as well, is we use potentiostats a lot in our sort of fundamental research. Potentiostats can sometimes have more than 3 cables, but if we were just dealing with a 3-cable potentiostat, they sometimes have a cable which is color coded red. We would often decide, red we often consider is actually the working electrode, the blue cable is the reference electrode, and the black cable is the counter electrode. So we did put some information out about that this week, just to help people sometimes understand. I'm looking at these 3 cables, which cable goes where, and that is something that we've discussed at the on the website this week. We put some images out about that. Something else as well, that we do have a sister company called Massius Sensors. Massius Sensors specializes really in PCB, printed circuit boards. And this week we did cover them and talk about their sort of expertise in the use of printed circuit boards at Massius Sensors. So we were delighted to promote their work. I'd say that at Massius Sensors, they are actually the only company that I really trust when it comes to using PCBs as sensors. So many companies try this, but really are not successful. They have problems with corrosion, and the nickel and the copper that can be underneath gold tracks can become a problem. And so we were delighted. But Massius Sensors have a really good technology to overcome that problem. Something else this week as well is that ZP, we do sponsor a lot of undergraduates. Now this week we were just highlighting 3 master's students that we've had at ZP. These 3 students did their studies with us, and we were delighted that they, I think they all got A's in the end. So we were delighted that we do have a strong connection to academia. And that strong connection to academia also means that we had these 3 students, and they all did their masters with us, and I think they all got A's as well. So thank you very much to the graduates for 2022. A little shorter this week, but just finally, we have been hosting a range of workshops. At the moment, we do have some workshops planned for India. It's only the visa situation that we're just trying to get sorted out. We do have some workshops planned in Grenoble in France. We do have some workshops planned in Horten in Norway. And then we do have a workshop also planned now in Coventry in the United Kingdom on the 8th of December, where we will, slightly different, let's say, emphasis this time. We'll talk about biosensor and IVD in vitro diagnostics. So slightly less emphasis really on the wearable sensors, and more on the sort of in vitro diagnostic sensors. So that is a workshop that we will also be holding in Coventry on the 8th of December, and people are welcome to attend that. So we've had it does feel like a busy week, and I think, if we were to sort of summarize that week, then that we've at least been to Birmingham this week for the CDT. We have talked about Julie and the fact that Julie is kind of central to ZP in terms of it allows us to put all our data into the cloud. We have touched upon that every Thursday at 8 a.m. London time. We do like to do that webinar for the members of our ZP Developer Zone. We did put some video and some notes out there this week about the detection of metals, heavy metals and platinum group metals, really using our Sense It All platform. If you walk up to a potentiostat and you're kind of confused by the cables, then red is the working, blue is the counter, and black is the reference. So I hope that helps you. If you are thinking about using PCBs as a biosensor, be very careful. It sounds like an elegant idea, but it's actually very hard to do in reality because of the underlying quite reactive metals like copper and nickel. And I think Massius is the only guys who are able to provide these kind of PCBs and them actually to work. We do sponsor undergraduates and graduates in their thesis, and we've just put out some pictures of 3 graduates this year who did their thesis with Zimmer and Peacock. And then just finally, it'll be one of the final workshops of 2022. We are doing a workshop with a focus on IVD in vitro diagnostics that will be held in Coventry. If you have any questions on Zimmer and Peacock, please reach out to us via the website. If they're technical, we will answer them in the webinar. If they're commercial, we'll get back to you. So thank you very much, and I wish everyone a happy week. All right, take care.